May 26, 2025. A decade ago, on May 26, 2015, A$AP Rocky released his highly anticipated sophomore studio album At Long Last A$AP, a genre-blurring, sonically rich body of work that not only cemented the Harlem rapper's artistry but also redefined the boundaries of modern hip-hop. Debuting at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with 146,000 units sold in its first week, the project was a bold evolution from his debut and an experimental odyssey that still echoes through the culture 10 years later. Coming off the success of Long.LIVE.A AP 2013, which introduced the world to the luxurious, chopped and screwed aesthetic of the A$AP mob, expectations were sky high. But rather than double down on his initial formula, Rocky, born Rakim Mayers, took a creative leap. A.L.L.A, as it's stylized, traded radio hits for risk, commercial appeal for cohesion, and flashy bars for introspection. The result, a deeply layered, druggy, and soul-searching trip through the mind of a rapper unafraid to challenge himself. Executive produced by the late A$AP Yams, whose spirit permeates the entire album, Danger Mouse, and Rocky himself, At Long Last.A AP is a sonic collage that draws from psychedelia, classic rock, southern rap, British trip-hop, and boom-bap. Songs like L.D. and Fine Wine showcased Rocky's willingness to step outside of his comfort zone, diving headfirst into melodic, even hallucinogenic territory, a far cry from the trunk-rattling bangers that defined much of 2010's rap. Tracks like Holy Ghost and Canal Street found Rocky sounding more focused than ever, rapping over grimy, stripped-down production with a clarity that underscored his maturity. Meanwhile, Excuse Me and West Side Highway revealed a level of emotional vulnerability that had only been hinted at in his earlier work. Then there were the star-studded collaborations. Everyday, which paired Rod Stewart, Miguel, and Mark Ronson on one of the album's most cinematic moments, Electric Body, an electrifying link-up with Schoolboy Q, and Jukebox Joints, a soulful Kanye West-assisted track that harked back to the days of crate-digging sample mastery. More than just a musical evolution, A.L.L.A was also Rocky's most personal and spiritual album to date. It arrived just months after the untimely death of A$AP Yams, Rocky's closest friend and the visionary behind the A$AP mob. His absence loomed heavily over the project, not just in the lyrics, but in the sense of purpose that drove its creation. Rocky grappled with the burden of fame, the weight of grief, and the meaning of life throughout the record. He toyed with religious imagery, psychedelic experiences, and the concept of legacy. The album felt like a tribute to Yams, yes, but also like a moment of rebirth for Rocky, a shedding of his earlier persona and a step into his true artistic identity. 10 years on, At Long Last.A AP is often cited as Rocky's most ambitious and complete work. Though it may not have produced as many mainstream hits as his debut, it earned critical acclaim and loyal fan admiration for its depth, originality, and courage. It helped usher in a new era where hip-hop artists felt increasingly free to experiment with genre, mood, and sound, paving the way for albums like Travis Scott's Astroworld, Tyler, the Creator's Flower Boy, and even Kendrick Lamar's more eclectic moments. More importantly, the album solidified Rocky as more than just a fashion icon or cultural influencer. It established him as an artist, one who was not only unafraid to take risks but intent on doing so. Today, Rocky stands as a veteran in the game, still stylish, still provocative, and still influential. Whether he's walking red carpets with Rihanna, dropping fashion collaborations, or teasing new music, he remains a force in both music and pop culture. But for many fans and critics alike, At Long Last.A AP remains a defining moment, the project where Rocky stopped following trends and started blazing his own path. As we reflect on the 10-year anniversary of A.L.L.A, it's clear that the album was more than a sequel, it was a statement. A eulogy and a resurrection. A turning point for A$AP Rocky and a landmark for hip-hop. One thing is certain, 10 years later, At Long Last.A AP still hits, and it always will. Thanks for watching and see you guys on the next video.